Hello, soul family. You know, what is more valuable than your own personal inner peace? The spiritual author Paulo Coelho has a quote that I really love. If it costs you your peace, it's too expensive. How are you guarding your inner peace? How are you cultivating your inner peace? How are you defending your inner peace? And what does all that mean? Obviously, I don't mean to block yourself from truth and reality, which may initially disturb you. I don't mean that. That would be delusional. But what I do mean is, how much are you respecting the priority of your own personal inner peace? And how are you doing with finding the balance between being a part of something bigger than yourself, being involved with other people, and yet maintaining, cultivating, prioritizing, guarding, and when necessary, defending your own inner peace? Ask yourself if there's anything in your life right now that you are allowing or tolerating or unwittingly letting come into your life, to your daily routine, to your thoughts, to your consciousness, to your being, in any way that is disturbing or threatening or eliminating or even preventing your personal inner peace. Your personal inner peace involves aspects of connection, connectivity to divinity, to nature, to self. It also implies harmony with these things. So it's a connective harmony with the fundamentals of being: divinity, nature, community, self. And there's an awful lot that can threaten that and disrupt that. And to be fair, c'est la vie. That's life. There's no escaping that. I often refer back to the Buddha's probably most famous quote, "Life is suffering," which I do not think he literally meant. I think what he meant by life is suffering, I think what he meant is to be a human and live a human life involves inevitable pain, inevitable struggle, inevitable challenges. I think that's what he meant. Because life is not suffering, but there's sure a lot of suffering within it. Okay, so maybe you think I'm splitting hairs, but accuracy and authenticity are priority with me. So that's what I think he meant. And, there's always going to be you have to be realistic. Your children are going to drive you nuts sometimes. Your neighbors are going to get on your nerves sometimes. Your in-laws, your mother-in-law, your father-in-law, whatever, your boss, your worker, your employee, whatever. Because people. Did you ever see that t-shirt? It says people, not a fan. But anyway, the topic is cultivate, guard, and defend your inner peace. And if there is something that you are doing or something that you are allowing to perpetuate, or in more sensitive cases, if there is someone, and that's a tough one, I can't tell you what to do, but if there's someone who is consistently threatening, disturbing, and eliminating your inner peace, you need to find your balance, you need to find your limits, you need to find your boundaries, And then you need to enforce them for the sake of your own well-being. And as I've said many times before, self-care is not selfish. Okay? Taking care of you, not at the expense of others, not in spite of others, but amidst others. And sometimes you have to detach and disconnect for a while from them. But you have to find your limits, your boundaries, your parameters, okay, for you. They do differ from person to person. And, you know, you might make a few missteps, but you will find your way in that. But if there is someone who, after sincere, diligent, authentic, compassionate meditation and consideration and discernment, you conclude is just causing you a very unhealthy amount of undue disturbance, etc., you need to make the decision and take the action that you deem appropriate for your well-being in light of that. You know, one love, we are all one, kumbaya, all that, and yet don't tell me there's not anybody driving you nuts. Don't tell me that you've never driven anybody nuts. We've all played all roles. You just have to find your way in that. And another quote that the Buddha is constantly miscredited because he didn't say it, but it's a pretty good point. If your compassion does not include yourself, it is incomplete. He never said that, but it doesn't matter who said it or if it was never said. It is a nugget of wisdom. You need to include yourself in the equation of managing your relationships. Some people are the extreme end of, well, what we call martyr syndrome. They sacrifice themselves on the altar of nice for everyone, to the point where at the end of the day they are utterly depleted, and it not only cultivates fatigue and exhaustion and depletion, which then will lead to physical manifestations of illness as well, but it can lead to quite an agitated degree of mental unwellness, mental instability, and resentment. It is like somebody who expends themselves for the sake of all others, as if offering themselves in a cannibalistic feast for everyone else to consume. And then what of me? So that is the opposite end of the spectrum from selfishness, self-centeredness, narcissistic behavior. No shortage of those these days, huh? Have you been online? So, you know, both of those are an extreme imbalance. So I don't care whether the Buddha said it or you know, Porky Pig said it. If your compassion does not include yourself, it is not complete. Okay? It is skewed. So you find your balance within those things. And back to Paulo Coelho, if it costs you your peace, it's too expensive. You know that newfangled, shiny, expensive thing you want? What's it gonna be like? What is it gonna require of your life to have it? Maybe it's a new house, a new car, a new motorbike, a new boat. Whatever it is. What's it gonna take of you, from you, to have that? Is that worth it to you? And by the way, for the first few months, you may believe yes. And then after a while, you may not. Buyer's remorse, that kind of thing. Maybe you want to have something better. Maybe you want to have something more. Maybe you want to have something different. What amount of your life force, your life energy, and your freedom, and your leisure, and your wellness, and your peace of mind is that going to cost you? Now weigh your options carefully. Be careful what you wish for. You may get it. That kind of thing. Okay? So I encourage you to be in a occasional, if not frequent, state of mind of assessing your life, evaluating what you have let in, what you have taken on, what you have accepted, and what burden you may be carrying, and ask yourself, is this working out? Is it worth what I'm giving of myself and my life to perpetuate this? And sometimes the answer is yes, and sometimes the answer is no. And la-di-da, there's your answer. Okay, I often mention that, everyone knows I love cats. I now have 12 cats and counting. And there is an expense, there is a reality of caring for that many rescues. It's not just, oh, I have room in my heart for 100, so, which I do. But no, there's a reality of cost and expense and what it takes to care for them and continue to be in that role of caretaker. And, there's room in my heart for 100, but there's not room in my energy and my resources and my peace of mind for 100. So, crazy cat lady to a limit. You have to weigh all that out. I can't tell you what to do. I'm just giving you some insight on how to assess, take inventory, evaluate, discern, choose, and act upon what you feel resonates as good, right, and true within your heart, within your entire being. And if possible, whenever possible, simplify, simplify, simplify. Everyone says, oh, less is more. Less is not more. But sometimes less is better. Okay? And so you need to weigh that out for yourself. It varies for everybody. But remember, as Paulo Coelho said, if it costs you your peace, it's too expensive. Cultivate your peace. Guard your peace. Cherish your peace and defend your peace. Be well.